Hello Orchid Maniacs, it's Yeva again. Today I'm gonna show you my plants that are in bloom, and we're gonna start with this NoID Cattleya. If you remember from the previous video where I introduced all of my orchids, it was only starting to show the buds, and now it's in bloom. It's actually fragrant. I couldn't say that I like the smell very much because it's kind of spicy, but yeah, I think it's a beautiful plant and it's blooming for the first time for me. So that's this plant. Next is my other Cattleya that I bought at the same time as this one, and it's not in bloom yet, but I can definitely feel some buds in there, so we're gonna see blooms from this one pretty soon as well. Oncidium Twinkle. It's just starting to open the buds. I don't know whether it's gonna focus or not. And it's got 5 bloom spikes. I wish they would all bloom at the same time, but I don't think it's possible because the other spikes are quite small. Right, next. My prize Cattleya that I received at the orchid show. I don't know whether I can turn it around without breaking it. There you go. It's just open today. Not even fully open yet. And I cannot detect any fragrance yet, so just have to wait, but they said it should be fragrant. My Mini Mark only has 2 blooms left and 3 buds, so it should continue to bloom. Next is my Mediocalcar decoratum. It's going over now, so the blooms are fading, but it lasted for quite a few weeks. My Phalaenopsis are about to open. This one is blooming from old bloom spikes now, and it's producing a new spike, so it should bloom any time now. And I've got only 3 of my Phalaenopsis are not spiking at the moment, so it's a bit too early for them because usually they start spiking in about November and bloom around Christmas, and now they started in summer. But yeah, and that is my Tolumnia Peach, and it's got a long spike with buds already forming, so it wouldn't take long for it to start blooming. I'm really excited to see this one because I haven't seen it in bloom yet. And there is this one, which is an unknown Oncidium type. I think it might actually be some sort of odontoglossum because the buds are quite big. And it's gonna bloom fairly soon. I thought it could be a Colmonara, but the buds are too big for a Colmonara. Or at least that's what I think. Now, this Cattleya, it really grew quite fast since I brought it inside and put it under those lights. And I think I feel something in there as well, so we should see the blooms fairly soon. Rhipsalidopsis, if I remember correctly the name. I'm gonna put it down here somewhere. And it usually blooms in spring, and this spring it had spectacular blooming with lots of blooms, but now it's decided to give me one bloom in the autumn. Epidendrum porpax. And it's in bud, and I actually broke one of the buds, if you can see here. I was watering it yesterday and broke the thing off, so I'm really pissed about it. But it's got a few more buds coming, so we're gonna see that. Okay, we're at the bottom shelf to see my Masdevallias, and we're gonna start with this one. That's a hybrid. It was blooming all summer long and quite proliferously, and it had multiple blooms on one spike, so it's multifloral, or how do you call it? So next is the other hybrid that's in bud, as you can see, and I think I saw some other buds in there somewhere, but yeah, we're gonna see it in bloom soon. My Pleurothalis isn't doing anything. Now my Stelis. It was in bloom for quite a long time, and now it's fading. Not fading, how do you call that? Yeah, those blooms are nice and fuzzy, and it had 5 bloom spikes in total, and the blooms are going. Right, next is my first ever Masdevallia that I bought, and I bought it at the Orchid show, but it didn't have a tag and I didn't notice it in time, so I don't really know what the name is, but I think it might be Masdevallia Amazon because it looks like the shape of the bloom is like Veitchiana's. And it's got a few more bloom spikes coming. I think I should repot it soon, because I repotted it last autumn and it's potted in sphagnum moss, and it's kind of breaking down already, so I don't know, maybe I'm gonna try to repot it into bark, or maybe not, I don't know. Okay, next are my other Masdevallias they're all finishing their blooming, because they were blooming all summer long and I need to remove those last spikes. There in the background is the yellow one, and it was blooming for all summer as well. Now this thing is in bloom as well. It's Hernia keniensis, I think. If you know what it is, please let me know, because I've only found that name and I'm not really sure about it. It smells quite disgusting. It smells like a rotten flesh. But the smell is not very strong, so that's good. Now one of my Epiphyllums is in bloom. It's faded already. It was in bloom yesterday, but it's got a few buds coming, and I'm afraid to move it because it's not the spot it should stay for the winter. But it's in bud now, so I really don't want to move it and lose the buds. Now this epiphyllum was in bloom as well, and it had lots of blooms, and I'm gonna put the footage here when it is in bloom. And this one only blooms one day, and it's quite fragrant. So this is today's bloom, that one is yesterday's bloom, and as you can see it's going over already, and I've still got some blooms to come, so it's really nice. And now it's starting some new buds. If you can see there is one. And there is one. It doesn't focus, but there you go. And I'm still gonna have a few if it doesn't decide to go dormant because it's winter. Now my Phalaenopsis type Dendrobium is finished growing its new growth, or almost finished, and there is a bud in there. So in about a month or less we're gonna see the blooms as well. It blooms white with quite large blooms, and it looks nothing like the common Phalaenopsis type, so I think it might be a Bigibbum instead of Phalaenopsis. So yeah, we're gonna see that. And we have a flower spike on this phal. So that's it, that's all I wanted to show you today. And happy growing everyone, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.